All right, let's jump right into it. Most of y'all know who I am. Let's talk about money and how it fits into this whole concept of doing deals, private equity, everything that we talk about here. And it's something that comes up in my one-on-one program as we go through a process that we call the pursuit of the ideal self. And I don't talk about the one-on-one program much because I only take 12 people and it's a year-long thing. And so usually those are sold out right at the beginning of the year. But I am, I've seen over these past few years just this transition since we introduced this concept into that program, just the impact that it's having on clients. And part of that impact has been around how people view money. I think it's very sad that, we come into the world, everybody talks about the importance of money and wealth and all these things, but we never get to take a step back and make a decision or get trained on, here are the options on how you can view money. Everything is just a byproduct. It's a byproduct of, media, and now social media and society, and people are kind of telling you, oh, no, this is how money fits into your life. Here's what money is. And we've heard the concept of the illusion of money. Like, we know that conceptually, when we look in our bank account, like, number one, that money really isn't there. Like, all of it is really illusion. And then even just the concept that, oh, this is my money that's in that account. First of all, the money's coming and going. We know that the money, once we pass away, if we have a will, that's going to go to other people. But we look at that as this has this connection to me. And unfortunately, in some cases, it has some connection to my worth. And one of the things that happens, the more you get into kind of the understanding of viewing the world, I think it's one thing to understand buying a business. That's a very small part of being a deal maker. I think the bigger thing is just how you view the world. And what happens is, the more you get into this, you start to see that the whole world is your money. All of the money is your money. It's just a matter of the value that you're bringing to the table to be able to get access to it. I liken it to the person that brings sand to the beach. Back in the day when we were young and dumb and in college, if there was a party and people had a bunch of girls there and you brought a girl with you, your friends would be like, dude, you brought sand to the beach back in the ignorant days. But the real idea there is you're bringing someone where there's already a ton of people here. And that's what happens when, somebody brings a bucket of sand to the beach. And it's like, okay, why would you do that? Because they feel like, oh, well, no, this is my sand. And the mental shift that takes place is that, as you get into understanding that just value is everywhere, money is everywhere, and you have enough value within yourself to get access to it. For me, I know I can land in any country, in any city, and I've built enough value within myself to know that I'm going to be able to exchange for money. So the money in my account has nothing to do with my value. I know that all of the money is mine. It's just as I become more and more valuable. The other part of that is having a path where you're increasing your value. I liken that, kind of that same, if you want to call it a modern parable of the person bringing sand to the beach. The other part of that is that you have a lot of people who are really, they're exchanging their life. When you look at the abundance of money that is literally just everywhere, obviously, if we're deal makers, even if you want to cut it down to any, as you walk through any city and there's just businesses everywhere and there's money that's coming into those businesses. As a deal maker, I can just go in, negotiate and buy that business. And now all of that money becomes mine. I was talking in the Patreon about a deal that we recently did where we didn't buy the whole business. We only bought 10% of the business, but we also bought we got full voting control. And so that business had a lot of money in the bank account. And so we literally just, for a pretty small amount of money, we got 5 times the amount of money that we paid for that 10%. We controlled the bank account. So, it's like we got that money. And that literally becomes what you start to see is just there's money everywhere. And the more you have this skill set, the value is less in your bank account and more internally in you. And so as you're creating your ideal self, you're deciding, what's the value that I'm going to bring to the marketplace so that, I have an endless bank account, because it really is I have an endless amount that I'm able to learn and, increase my skill set. The problem is today is that everybody's wanting to learn the same things. And so like everybody's learning how to be famous on Instagram. Everybody's learning, how to do all just the standard thing, how to do drop shipping or e-commerce or SaaS. It's just all the same things. And the real goal should be, it's this combination. It's not just, oh, how can I present value? Value is part of it. The other part is rarity. So as we know, a rare diamond is going to have, even if it's whatever, it could be the same size as another diamond, but let's say it's a pink diamond. Like that rarity is what's going to increase the value of that thing. And so it's those two things. It has to be valuable to start with. But the other question is rarity. And if there's a million other people that also understand Google PPC or SEO or Facebook ads, then you're missing that rarity part of it. So to go back to, our sand parable, if you're somebody who's trying to get this sand and, somebody else is laying on some sand, you're like, hey, I want to get some of this sand that's over by you, because you just stop looking at, oh, this is your money. There's just money, and then money is everywhere, and everybody's exchanging value, and they've got to exchange. Like it's only valuable if you exchange it. And so the more valuable you are, the more that they're gonna exchange it for your value. And so at the beginning, if you want some of the other people's sand, you're going to them and you're saying, hey, I've got bottles of water. It's hot out here. That's in demand. That's value. You're selling the water. People are like, you're gonna give me some water for some of this sand right here? Because that is the difference. Like it literally, once you have enough value, that person's gonna see their money like sand. It's like, dude, you want some of this sand for that value? You're crazy. Like that's what you want. You want it to just be like, dude, you are crazy. Yes, take the sand, take the sand. Well, eventually other people are going to see that you're selling water. And this, I've been talking about buying business for 20 years. So now there's a lot of people in the last 3 or 4 years that are also talking about buying and selling business. And it's like, great, that's okay, because the value was never that thing. The value was in me, and so it's like I can go and increase my value. And so with the person that was selling the bottled water, now they go and they go back to the beach, and now there's a bunch of other people, there's 20 other people that are also selling bottled water. It's like, oh, well, great, cool. I'll go back, let me take my water, I'm gonna mix it with some lemon, mix it with some sugar. I'm going back out, and now I'm selling lemonade. It's like, hey, I got lemonade. And now all of a sudden, oh yeah, dude, I didn't want water today, I want lemonade. Take my sand, take my money. So eventually, obviously, those people are going to see you selling lemonade. It's like, oh, well, great. I want to sell lemonade. It's like, cool. Okay. And you start selling margaritas. And so this kind of thing, it becomes really easy once you realize you want rarity with also value. And in today's market, I think that combination of things is really powerful. There's a lot of levels to what we get into in creating the ideal self, but that's one of those paradigm shifts where it's just really empowering. Like as you get this skill set and everything that we go into and we teach in that program, like just the power of being able to go anywhere on earth and know that like my value has nothing to do with, assets that I own or cars that I have or just any of that, money in my bank account. It just has nothing to do with that. Because as we all know, something can happen. Anything can happen, frivolous lawsuit, just random things can happen. But when you have just a rare skill set, and that's why this skill set is so valuable, what we can do in a business. I love one of the things we just talked about in Patreon was bartering. And I love the concept of bartering because it gets you out of seeing. So we get into some of the strategies of triangulation and some of the cool things that you can do within bartering, because I want you to separate the value and value creation and really just business in general. Like this sounds crazy, but business has nothing to do with money. And that's a great point to leave off on. I wanted to start the year with this. If you're interested in the one-on-one program, feel free to reach out. We'll put Nori's email below, but reach out to us, nori@financierbank.com. We've got a couple spots. We already had a couple people that joined for this coming year. We usually just do it like kind of right at the first quarter through the first quarter of the following year. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to reach out. If you're more tight on cash, feel free to check out patreon.com/Ace Chapman.